Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in life when no matter how hard we try, we feel stuck, trapped in the same routines, circling the same doubts, carrying the same weight on our shoulders. It's in those moments we question ourselves, we lose hope, and we wonder if life will ever move forward again. But let me tell you this, feeling stuck does not mean you are finished. It means you are being prepared for transformation. Today, we will uncover the truth, awaken your inner strength, and discover exactly what to do when you feel stuck. Acknowledging the feeling of stuckness. Have you ever woken up one morning and felt as if life is standing still? You look around and nothing seems to be moving forward. The days start blending into each other. Your goals feel distant, and even your dreams seem silent. It's as if you're running in circles, working hard, thinking hard, but still stuck in the same place. This feeling, being stuck, is one of the most common human experiences, yet it's also one of the most misunderstood. The first step toward breaking free is to acknowledge it without judgment. Too often, when we feel stuck, we punish ourselves. We label ourselves as lazy, unworthy, or incapable. But the truth is, feeling stuck doesn't mean you are weak. It doesn't mean you're failing, and it certainly doesn't mean you're broken. It simply means your inner self is calling for a shift. It's your soul whispering, there's more for you, but you can't get there by staying where you are. Acknowledging this is powerful because awareness is the seed of transformation. When you deny how you feel, you bury it deeper, and it continues to control you silently. But when you pause and say to yourself, yes, I feel stuck right now, you immediately take back your power. You move from unconscious frustration to conscious recognition, and that's where healing begins. Think about it. Every single person who has ever achieved greatness has also felt stuck at some point. Writers stare at blank pages, musicians lose inspiration, entrepreneurs hit roadblocks, and even spiritual seekers feel lost on their path. Being stuck is not a sign that your journey is over. It is a sign that your journey is preparing to evolve. In fact, feeling stuck can be a sacred signal. It often arrives right before a breakthrough, like the silent pause before the dawn. Life has a way of slowing us down when we're heading in the wrong direction or when we need to gather the energy for a greater leap. So instead of seeing stuckness as failure, begin to see it as feedback. It's your soul's way of saying pause, reflect, and redirect. Acknowledging your current state also allows you to release unnecessary pressure. You don't have to force yourself to have it all figured out. You don't need all the answers right now. What you need is honesty, the courage to admit where you are. From there, a new clarity begins to form. So today, if you're feeling stuck, take a deep breath. Don't run from it. Don't cover it up with endless distractions. Instead, acknowledge it with compassion. Yes, I feel stuck. Yes, I feel uncertain. But this is not the end of my story. It's the beginning of a new chapter. Because once you recognize where you are, you open the possibility of where you can go. And that single act of acknowledgement is the first step out of the cage and into freedom. Understanding the root. When you feel stuck in life, the natural instinct is to blame external circumstances. Maybe you think it's because of your job, your finances, your relationships, or the lack of opportunities around you. And while those factors can play a role, the truth is, feeling stuck is rarely about what's happening outside. It's almost always about what's happening inside. Think of it this way. Two people can be placed in the exact same situation, same challenges, same setbacks, same environment, and yet one of them thrives while the other feels trapped. What makes the difference? It's not the situation itself, but the beliefs, emotions, and stories we carry within us. To understand the root of your stuckness, you must be willing to look beneath the surface. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What doubts are holding me back? What stories am I repeating to myself that keep me from moving forward? More often than not, the root lies in fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. Sometimes it's self-doubt, that inner voice whispering, you're not good enough, you're not ready yet. Other times it's old wounds from the past that you've carried into the present, shaping how you see yourself and the world. Another common root is attachment. We hold on tightly to things that no longer serve us, relationships, jobs, habits, because they feel familiar. Even if they drain us, at least they're predictable. The unknown feels scarier than staying stuck where we are. But here's the truth. Holding on to what is safe but stagnant is one of the biggest reasons we feel trapped. And then there's perfectionism, that silent trap that convinces us we can't move until everything is perfectly aligned. We wait for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect confidence, but perfection never comes. Life moves forward only when we're willing to step forward in imperfect. Kikshan. Understanding the root is about shining light on these hidden patterns, because once you see them clearly, they begin to lose their power. Imagine being in a dark room. You stumble, you fall, you feel stuck. But the moment you turn on the light, you realize there's nothing blocking the door. The obstacles were never as big as they seemed. You just couldn't see them. So, take a journal or sit quietly with yourself and ask the tough questions. What am I resisting? What part of me is afraid to grow? Am I holding on to the past, or am I afraid of stepping into the future? The answers may not come all at once, but even small insights can be powerful enough to shift your perspective. When you understand the root, you move from confusion to clarity. You stop blaming the outside world and start reclaiming your inner power. Because the truth is, the cage that makes you feel stuck is rarely made of steel. It's usually made of your own thoughts. And the moment you see that, you realize the key has always been in your hands. The power of stillness. When we feel stuck, our first instinct is often to push harder, to force movement, to do something, anything, that convinces us we are making progress. Society has conditioned us to believe that constant action equals success. But here's the truth. Sometimes, what you call being stuck is not a lack of progress at all. It's life inviting you into stillness. Stillness is not failure. Stillness is preparation. Just like a seed that rests underground before it bursts into a flower, your soul also needs periods of quiet, of pause, of waiting. Nothing seems to be happening on the surface, but beneath the soil of your life, roots are forming, strength is building, and alignment is taking place. The challenge is, we are uncomfortable with stillness. We live in a world that glorifies busyness, where being constantly in motion makes us feel valuable. So, when life slows us down, we panic. We label it as stuck, as if something is wrong. But imagine this. What if that pause is not punishment, but protection? What if the universe is saying, you are not ready yet, but I am preparing the way for you? Think about the caterpillar. Before it becomes a butterfly, it must enter the cocoon. From the outside, it looks lifeless, trapped, stuck. But inside, an extraordinary transformation is happening. The caterpillar is dissolving, reshaping, and being reborn. Without that stillness, there would be no wings. In your own journey, stillness often shows up before your biggest breakthroughs. Maybe the relationship hasn't arrived yet because you need to learn self-love first. Maybe the opportunity is delayed because something greater is aligning. Maybe your dream feels paused because you need the inner strength to sustain it when it finally arrives. Stillness is sacred because it teaches us to surrender. It teaches us patience, trust, and the ability to find peace within ourselves instead of chasing it outside. When you embrace stillness, you stop seeing it as wasted time and start seeing it as preparation time. But here's the key. Stillness is not the same as stagnation. Stagnation is when you resist growth, when you ignore your inner calling, when you stay in comfort zones that no longer serve you. Stillness, on the other hand, is intentional. It's the pause between breaths, the silence between notes, the calm before action. It's when life says, be still, because what's coming requires more of you than what's behind you. So instead of fighting stillness, learn to lean into it. Use it to reflect, to recharge, to reconnect with your inner self. Meditate, journal, spend time in nature. Listen deeply, not just to your thoughts, but to your soul. Because it is often in stillness that the loudest guidance arrives. Remember this. If you are in a season of stillness, you are not stuck. You are being shaped. You are not falling behind. You are being prepared. And when the time is right, The same stillness that felt heavy will transform into unstoppable momentum. Shift your perspective. When you feel stuck, it often feels like you are staring at a wall, a huge solid barrier standing between you and the life you want. You push against it, you complain about it, and you begin to believe that maybe this wall is permanent. But here's the truth. The wall is not the problem. The way you see it is. Life is not just about what happens to us. It's about the meaning we give to what happens. Two people can face the exact same challenge, yet one sees it as an obstacle, while the other sees it as an opportunity. The difference lies in perspective. Think about this. When you say, "I am stuck," your mind closes off to solutions. You train yourself to see limits instead of possibilities. But the moment you ask a different question, "What is this teaching me? How could this situation be working for me, not against me?" Suddenly the wall begins to look different. It transforms from a dead end into a doorway. Shifting your perspective is not about denying reality. It's about expanding it. Instead of being trapped in one angle of vision, you begin to step back and see the bigger picture. Imagine holding a glass of water. If you only look at it from the top, it seems like a small circle of liquid. But tilt it, step back, and suddenly you see the whole glass, the reflection, even the hand holding it. Nothing about the glass changed, only your perspective did. When you feel stuck in life, that same principle applies. Maybe the delay in your career isn't rejection, it's redirection. Maybe the silence in your relationships isn't abandonment, it's space for you to discover your worth. Maybe the pause in your progress isn't failure, it's preparation for something greater. History is full of people who shifted perspective and turned obstacles into opportunities. Thomas Edison's countless failures were actually experiments that led him closer to success. Nelson and Mandela spent 27 years in prison, but instead of seeing it as wasted time, he saw it as preparation to lead a nation. Their situations didn't change overnight, but their perspective gave them power. You have that same ability. Every time you feel stuck, you can choose the lens you look through. Will you see it as the end of your journey, or will you see it as the beginning of transformation? Will you complain about the wall, or will you search for the hidden door? Here's a simple practice. The next time you feel trapped, pause and reframe the story you're telling yourself. Instead of saying, "This is happening to me," say, "This is happening for me." That one small shift in language rewires your mind to look for growth, lessons, and new paths. Remember, life is not about waiting for perfect circumstances. It's about choosing empowering perspectives. The same moment that feels like a dead end can become the greatest turning point of your life, if you're willing to see it differently. Release what no longer serves you. One of the biggest reasons people feel stuck in life is because they are carrying too much weight. Imagine trying to climb a mountain with a backpack full of heavy rocks. No matter how strong or determined you are, the climb will feel impossible until you let go of what doesn't belong in your bag. The same is true in life. You cannot rise higher while holding on to what is weighing you down. So, what exactly are these rocks? They can take many forms. For some, it's toxic relationships that drain your energy. For others, it's old habits that no longer align with who you want to become. Sometimes it's limiting beliefs, the quiet voice that says, "You're not good enough, you'll never succeed." And often, it's the past, regrets, mistakes, or painful experiences that you replay over and over again. The problem is, many of us cling to these things because they feel familiar. We stay in unhealthy environments because at least they're predictable. We hold on to old versions of ourselves because change feels uncertain. But here's the truth. What once served you may no longer serve you now. A habit, a mindset, or even a relationship that was once part of your growth might now be holding you back. Think of a tree. Every autumn, it sheds its leaves. Not because the leaves were useless, but because they served their purpose for a season. If the tree refused to let go, it would never make space for new growth in the spring. In the same way, releasing does not mean rejecting your past. It means honoring it, thanking it, and then allowing it to leave so that you can step into your next season. But letting go isn't always easy. The mind resists. It asks, what if I need this later? What if I regret this choice? What if I'm left with nothing? This is where faith comes in. Faith that by releasing what no longer serves you, you are creating space for something greater. Here's a simple truth. The universe abhors a vacuum. When you let go of what drains you, you naturally attract what uplifts you. Release the unhealthy friendship, and you create room for genuine connection. Release the limiting belief, and you create space for courage. Release the past, and you create space for possibility. So, how do you start? Begin by asking yourself, what am I holding on to that I already know is not serving me? The answer will usually come quickly. You already feel it in your heart. Then, make a conscious choice to loosen your grip. That may mean having a hard conversation, breaking a habit, or simply choosing a new thought when the old one appears. Letting go is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's saying, I am no longer available for what keeps me small. I am ready to step into what sets me free. Because the truth is, you cannot soar while clinging to the ground. And the moment you release what no longer serves you, you don't just get unstuck, you rise. Reconnect with your inner self. When life feels heavy, confusing, or directionless, the natural tendency is to look outward for answers. We chase advice, read countless books, scroll endlessly on social media, or depend on others to tell us what to do next. And while guidance can be valuable, the truth is that the most powerful answers you are searching for are already within you. That is why one of the most important steps to move beyond stuckness is to reconnect with your inner self. Your inner self is that quiet voice of truth deep inside, the part of you that existed before fear, doubt, and outside opinions clouded your clarity. It is the voice that knows your worth, your purpose, and your next step, even when your mind is confused. The problem is, in today's noisy world, that voice is often drowned out. We get so busy listening to everyone else that we forget how to listen to ourselves. Think of it like a radio station. Your inner guidance is always broadcasting, but if you're tuned into too many other frequencies, you'll never hear it. To reconnect, you must slow down, turn off the noise, and create space for silence. That's where the magic happens, when you sit still enough to listen. There are many ways to reconnect with your inner self. For some, it begins with meditation. Taking just a few minutes each day to close your eyes, focus on your breath, and let your thoughts settle allows you to hear the whispers of your soul. For others, it's journaling, pouring your unfiltered thoughts onto paper and allowing your deeper truth to emerge between the lines. Some people find it through prayer, some through nature, some through simply being present and mindful in their daily lives. The method doesn't matter as much as the intention. What matters is creating time and space to check in with yourself. Ask questions like, what do I truly want? What am I afraid of? What would I do if fear wasn't holding me back? And then listen, not just with your mind, but with your heart. You'll notice that when you reconnect with your inner self, clarity begins to replace confusion. Fear loses its grip because you remember your true strength. You stop chasing answers outside and start trusting the wisdom within. This doesn't mean every problem will vanish instantly, but it does mean you'll begin to move from a place of authenticity instead of anxiety. The truth is, your inner self has always known the way. You may have forgotten for a while, but the connection is never lost. It's only waiting for you to return. Like a lighthouse guiding ships through the darkest storms, your inner self will always lead you home. So if you feel stuck right now, don't rush outward. Instead, pause and turn inward. Because the moment you reconnect with yourself, you remember that you already carry the map, the compass, and the strength to move forward. Take one small step. When you feel stuck, it often feels like you are standing at the bottom of a massive mountain. The peak seems so far away, the climb looks overwhelming, and your mind keeps whispering, it's impossible. That's why so many people stay frozen in place. They think they have to leap to the top in one giant move. But here's the secret. You don't need to climb the entire mountain today. You just need to take one small step. Movement creates momentum. Even the tiniest step forward has the power to shift your energy. Think about water. When it flows, even slowly, it eventually shapes rivers and carves valleys. But when it sits stagnant, it becomes heavy, polluted, lifeless. Your life works the same way. The key is not waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect moment, or the perfect confidence. It's about starting where you are, with what you have, right now. Sometimes that one step might be as simple as making a phone call you've been avoiding, writing down an idea, applying for an opportunity, or choosing to wake up an hour earlier. It doesn't matter how small it looks to others. What matters is that it creates movement. Because once you move, even slightly, you prove to yourself that you are not stuck. You are in motion. Here's the truth. Clarity does not come before action. It comes through action. Many people wait until they know exactly what to do before moving. But life doesn't work that way. Think of headlights on a dark road. They don't show you the entire journey, only the next few meters ahead. But as you keep driving, the road reveals itself. The same is true for your life. Each small step you take reveals the next one. And don't underestimate the power of small actions done consistently. Reading a few pages a day builds wisdom. Saving a small amount regularly builds security. Speaking one kind word daily builds connection. Step by step, small change. Oases compound into massive change. The mountain that once seemed impossible eventually becomes climbable. Not because you jumped to the top, but because you kept moving, one step at a time. Of course, fear will try to hold you back. It will whisper, what if you fail? What if you're not ready? But the real failure is staying in the same place year after year, never discovering what could have been. Taking a small step, even imperfectly, is far better than standing still in the illusion of safety. So today, ask yourself, what is one small action I can take right now to move forward? Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for certainty. Just take the step. And then tomorrow, take another. Before long, you'll look back and realize that the mountain that once intimidated you has already been conquered step by step. Trust the divine timing. One of the hardest things in life is waiting. We live in a world of instant results, instant communication, instant entertainment, instant answers. So when life asks us to be patient, when things don't happen as quickly as we hoped, we assume something is wrong. We think, if it hasn't happened yet, maybe it never will. But here's the truth. Delay is not denial. Very often, it is divine timing at work. Divine timing means that everything in your life is unfolding according to a greater rhythm, a higher order that you may not fully see right now. Just as seasons arrive exactly when they should, spring never comes too early and winter never overstays its welcome, your life also has seasons. What feels like delay is often alignment. What feels like silence is often preparation. Think about planting a seed. You water it, you nurture it, but you don't see results immediately. Weeks may pass with no sign of growth, but beneath the soil, roots are forming, the foundation is strengthening. If you lose patience and dig it up too soon, you kill the very thing that was meant to bloom. Your dreams, your goals, your healing, they work the same way. Just because you can't see progress on the surface doesn't mean nothing is happening. Trusting divine timing requires surrender. It's about letting go of the need to control every detail and learning to believe that what is meant for you will not pass you by. This doesn't mean you stop working or stop trying. It means you do your part, take your steps, and then allow life to handle the rest. You trust that the doors meant for you will open, even if they don't open on your schedule. Many times, what we call delay is actually protection. Perhaps the job didn't work out because something better is on its way. Perhaps the relationship ended because it would have held you back from becoming who you were meant to be. Perhaps your breakthrough hasn't arrived yet because you are still gathering the strength to handle it when it comes. What feels like rejection is often redirection towards something greater. Look back at your own life for a moment. Can you think of times when you wanted something desperately, but it didn't happen until much later? Or it didn't happen at all, and something even better came along? That is divine timing in action. Life is always unfolding in ways that support your highest good, even when it doesn't feel that way in the moment. So, when you feel stuck, remember this. Just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it will never happen. The universe is not late, and neither are you. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be, and that everything is moving according to a higher plan. Because when the time is right, doors will open, opportunities will flow, and what once felt impossible will unfold with ease. All you have to do is keep walking, keep trusting, and keep your heart open. Embrace growth through discomfort. If there is one truth about growth, it is this: growth is never comfortable. We often imagine transformation as a graceful process, but in reality, it usually feels messy, uncertain, and even painful. And yet, that discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something is changing. Think about a seed again. Before it becomes a tree, it must break open in the soil. From the outside, it looks like destruction, but in reality, it is creation. The shell must crack for life to emerge. The same principle applies to you. When you feel discomfort in your journey, it often means that the old version of you is breaking apart so the new version can be born. The problem is, many of us mistake discomfort for danger. The moment we feel fear, resistance, or uncertainty, we pull back. We run to what feels safe and familiar, even if it keeps us stuck. But the truth is, your comfort zone is not where growth happens. Growth begins the moment you step outside it. Think about your own life. The moments that shaped you the most were probably not the easiest ones. It was the heartbreak that taught you resilience, the setback that taught you perseverance, the challenge that revealed your hidden strength. Pain has a way of teaching lessons that comfort never could. Discomfort is also the universe's way of stretching you. Just like lifting weights builds muscle by creating resistance, life builds your character by giving you challenges to overcome. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to rise higher, to discover what you are truly capable of. Without resistance, there is no strength. Without pressure, there are no diamonds. So instead of fearing discomfort, begin to welcome it as a teacher. Ask yourself, what is this moment trying to teach me? How is it shaping me into someone stronger, wiser, more compassionate? When you reframe discomfort as growth, it loses its power to paralyze you. But let's be honest, embracing discomfort does not mean you won't feel fear. It means you choose to move forward despite fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that growth matters more than staying comfortable. Each time you choose growth over comfort, you expand your limits. You become someone who is not afraid to evolve. Remember, the butterfly cannot emerge without struggling through the cocoon. If you cut the cocoon open to make its life easier, it would never develop the strength to fly. In the same way, your struggles are not meant to break you. They are meant to prepare you for flight. So if life feels uncomfortable right now, don't resist it. Lean into it. Trust that the pressure is shaping you, the struggle is strengthening you, and the discomfort is carving out the space for a greater version of yourself to emerge. Step into your power. There comes a point on every journey when you realize something profound. You are never truly stuck. Every pause, every delay, every challenge was shaping you, preparing you, and calling you into a higher version of yourself. And now it's time to step into your power. What does it mean to step into your power? It doesn't mean becoming fearless or having all the answers. It doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy. Stepping into your power means finally remembering who you are. It means no longer shrinking yourself to fit into other people's expectations. It means recognizing that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the creator of your reality. For too long, many of us hand over our power. We give it to fear. We give it to doubt. We give it to the opinions of others. We wait for permission, for validation, for perfect conditions. But the truth is, you already hold the key. The power to change your life has always been within you. It was simply buried under layers of hesitation and uncertainty. Stepping into your power begins with a choice. A choice to no longer let your past define you. A choice to no longer let fear dictate your steps. A choice to live as the highest, truest version of yourself. It's not about waiting for the right time. It's about deciding that the time is now. Think of all the challenges you've faced, the moments when you felt broken, lost, or stuck. And yet, here you are, still standing, still breathing, still searching for more. That alone is proof of your strength. If you could survive those moments, imagine what you can create when you fully step into your own light. Your power lies not in controlling everything around you, but in mastering what is within you, your mindset, your perspective, your choices. When you realize that you control how you respond, how you rise, and how you move forward, you become unstoppable. And here's the beautiful truth. Stepping into your power doesn't just transform your life, it inspires others. When you live authentically, courageously, and unapologetically, you give others permission to do the same. Your light becomes a spark that ignites change around you. So today, I invite you to make a declaration. I am no longer stuck. I am rising. I am stepping into my power. Say it until you feel it. Act on it until you believe it. Because the world doesn't need a smaller version of you. It needs the full expression of who you are. Remember this: you are not behind, you are not broken, and you are not powerless. You are in the exact place you need to be to begin your next chapter. The power to create, to heal, to grow, and to transform is already within you. All that's left is for you to claim it. We've reached the end of this journey together, and if you've followed through each section, you've already taken the most important step. You've chosen to face your feeling of being stuck instead of running from it. And that choice alone is powerful. Because the truth is, feeling stuck is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of transformation. Think about everything we've uncovered. First, we acknowledged the reality of being stuck. We stripped away the shame and judgment and reminded ourselves that feeling stuck does not mean you are broken. It means your soul is calling for growth. Then we looked deeper, uncovering the roots of that stuckness: fear, doubt, attachments, and the limiting beliefs that quietly hold us back. We then explored the hidden power of stillness, recognizing that what feels like a pause can often be preparation. From there, we shifted our perspective, choosing to see obstacles not as walls, but as doorways to new opportunities. And when we realized we cannot carry everything with us, we learned to release what no longer serves us, creating space for the new. But it didn't stop there. We reconnected with our inner self, remembering that the answers we seek outside already exist within. We reminded ourselves that clarity comes through action, through taking one small step. Even if it feels insignificant, it creates momentum. And when doubt tried to creep in, we placed our trust in divine timing, believing that everything unfolds when it is meant to, not when we force it. We embraced the discomfort of growth, understanding that the pressure we feel is shaping us into who we're meant to be. Finally, we stepped into our power, claiming the truth that we are not victims of our circumstances, but creators of our destiny. So where does this leave you now? It leaves you with a choice. You can continue to see yourself as stuck, or you can choose to see this moment as sacred, as the very point where your awakening begins. Remember, nothing changes until you decide to change. Nothing moves until you take the first step, and nothing transforms until you claim the power that has been within you all along. Yes, there will still be challenges. Yes, there will still be moments of fear and uncertainty, but now you know, you are not powerless. You are not alone. You are not finished. You are becoming. Every pause is preparation. Every struggle is strength. Every delay is divine alignment. So take a breath, look at where you are, and then Make a choice to rise, because your future is not waiting for someday. It's waiting for the moment you decide that today is the day you move forward. When you feel stuck, don't see it as the end of your path. See it as the beginning of your awakening. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are simply becoming. And the moment you choose to rise, nothing, absolutely nothing, can hold you back.